Clearly not rushing. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's stopping, pausing. Yeah, absolutely. On that note, while we're on that topic, is signaling. So if our plate is here, and that plate has got one or two mouthfuls of food left on it, very, very, very little, maybe even nothing, maybe no food left on it, and our fork is sitting as such, maybe at 8 o'clock, and our knife is across the top of the plate up here at 2 o'clock. Silverware positioned as such on the plate, that means I'm still eating, right? Inversely, if there's a ton of food that's left on the plate and fork and knife are placed together, and there's a lot of different schools of thought on this, but they're placed together, whether it be at 9 o'clock, some cases over here at 4 o'clock, that fork and knife together signals that I'm done. One thing we don't do is we don't make a pirate map. What do you think that means? Yes, we don't take and make this big X of that and then put our napkin in the middle and pour ice water and madness. We don't go to that place. But I couldn't agree with you more. On that note, you bring up a great point, because let's say Brad and I are the agents, right? And we're not sitting with the principal. We rarely sit with the principal, unlike Dustin's scenario, but we're 2 tables over. So it is that meal. It's that big business meal. And again, there's an activity associated with a restaurant, which is eating. It's eating food. So we're going to eat. We're not just going to sit there and just stare at each other for 4 hours and drink club soda and get big bladders. Like, we're not going to do that. We're going to eat. So Brad and I are over there, and we eat Applebee's style. We eat like we're in prison, and we just wolf it down, and we're done with our food in 30 minutes. And now there's 3.5 more hours of tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. So for all those reasons, we may need to slow down our speed as we go as well, and blend. I can't emphasize that enough. So if we take and foul this up, if we mess this up, and I don't want to create a doom and gloom environment where you're going to mess this up, you're going to mess that up. That's not what we're doing. We want to set you guys up to win. Can you embarrass yourself or embarrass your employer? Can that happen? Yes. Who brought the caveman? We never want to hear that question. Who brought the guy who's out of place? Loss of trust or confidence. Unwanted attention, that people are looking over and realizing that we're getting attention we shouldn't be getting. Loss of OPSEC or operational security, meaning they do have protection. There's another element here, which is that when we sit at the table, we tend to talk about work. So that's a massive component to this thing. If we have that large table that we talked about before, that Thanksgiving style table, Marco's sitting up here, I'm sitting here, other Marco is sitting here, maybe a couple folks. My conversation is more or less limited to the folks who are nearby. Does that make sense? Right? So maybe Anthony's all the way down here. I'm not, hey bro, yelling all the way down the table to the opposite end. Keep your conversation limited. If you guys have ever seen somebody figure out or manage things like seating arrangements at a wedding, they spend great amounts of time figuring out where the seating cards are going to go, and Uncle Mary or rather Aunt Mary, she hates Uncle Phil. I'm not going to sit them next to each other because they're going to fight, and they're divorced, and he's bringing his girlfriend, and they spend a lot of time dealing with that. And then that final bullet right there, discrediting of the profession. We can take the profession and we start looking like bodyguards and knuckleheads and all that kind of stuff. Yes, sir.
So in his case, he was going there as an investor or something like that because he was covert, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that right? So would you just have like a backstory that you create and like do research and stuff like that, and just make sure that whenever you talk to somebody, like they're like, you're not an investor,
Absolutely. And on that note, when we talk a little bit about surveillance and we do a block on that, we're going to talk about developing backstory and what are good backstories and bad backstories and rehearsing them and all that. But you're absolutely barking up the right tree. Yes, sir.
In the picture on page 40 of the glassware, there's a small glass that's to the bottom right.
Tell me what it is.
Is that a quart glass?
That it is. Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Just one more alcohol we're throwing into the mix.
What about that little fork?
Yeah.
I still haven't figured out what that is.
The one that's a fish fork.
The little tiny one?
That little teeny tiny guy that's all the way over there. And because it's on the outside, that would mean it's earlier. That's an earlier course. How many of you guys have ever seen shrimp or clams or mussels or snails, and you get one of those little teeny forks to dig those guys out with? You guys ever seen one of those before? Yeah. And so that fork right there is at your place setting. Sometimes when you order that dish, the dish will come in there. The fish fork will be with it. Who's ever seen that? That it arrives and the service is right inside of it.
Should you be expecting that when you have that fork on there, or is that just
So this is a great question here. So who here has ever had or been to a wedding where you're not picking what you're eating? It's a predetermined course of what the meal is. Who's ever had that? Okay. So we've all had that before. And then who here's clearly been to a restaurant where you order, right? And so you decide all you're going to have for dinner is a steak salad, but you decide you're going to have prime rib. And because you're having prime rib, before your entree even comes out, they come and do what? They deliver a steak knife to you. So you're getting silverware that's based upon what you're going to have. So in this photograph right here, my assumption with the photograph on page 40 would be that's a predetermined meal that's already laid out and all the services in place exactly where it's going to be, right? It starts to be a lot of stuff. It's a lot of cutlery. It can be dozens and dozens and dozens of glass. Marco, did you have your hand up? No. Does that answer that?
Yeah, he gave me the wrong answer.
Really? You just threw him under the
He
bus.
was like, yeah, it's pretty dental philosophy.
No. Let's go to 41. Let's hit a couple additional bullets here. Let's talk about this notion of assisting females. Okay. So you guys remember our discussion yesterday about getting doors for people. You guys remember that, right? And we said what? Don't ever overstep our bounds and accidentally elbow bump or hit or push the principal to try and get a door for them. We might be performing protection, and maybe for our principal, we have a male principal, he has his girlfriend or wife, and it's date night, right? Would we be overstepping our bounds if we're getting doors or getting chairs when it's date night and he's trying to be chivalrous? We might be, okay? Asterisk, okay? We have witnessed date night where date night starts and everybody's getting along. And then by the time we get to the end of date night, he is phone to ear and he's 25 paces in front of her, and she can get her own ride. I don't even know who that is. I don't care. And we've seen that, even to the point of departing separately. That's occurred. So maybe they're not fighting, but as a business person, might he get a call, and before he gets the call, he's a perfect gentleman and he's opening doors, and then suddenly phone rings and it's pure business, and now he doesn't care about that anymore. You guys see what I'm getting at, right? Knowing your audience, right? In today's day and age, 2018, might there be females who are offended if we're getting doors, or offended if we're managing chairs and that sort of stuff? So adapt. I can't emphasize that enough. We already talked about the napkin. Leaving the table. If we're going to leave the table, again, our napkin goes down. Excuse us, excuse ourselves, and step away. We talked about speaking at the table, content, folks that are around us. Teeth, nose, and elbows. We don't pick our teeth at the table, even if you've got that fancy little fork right there for it. Okay, we don't do that. Our nose, we don't blow our nose at the table. We don't have our elbows on the table. Menus. If we've looked at a menu and we've decided what we want, what do we do with our menu? Close your menu. An open menu means you have questions or you have not decided. Close your menu, that means that you're ready to order. I want to talk about this electronic device thing because I'm fascinated by it, because it shows an evolution in culture. Okay? So it's 2018. If we go back in time 25 years, just 25 years, that's nothing. How many folks in this room had a cell phone 25 years ago? Probably a few of you. Most of you didn't. A few of you might have had a pager. Pagers were prolific at that time. We still had payphones on corners. 25 short years ago. Okay? During that era, if we go a little less, let's say 21 years ago, right? You go to 4-star, 5-star dining 21 years ago. If you sat at that table with a cell phone in your hands, talking on it, it would be outlandishly impolite, totally rude. A little bit less, 17 years ago. Excuse me, I need to leave the table to go manage my phone. 15 years ago, cell phones where? Down below the edge of the table. 10 years ago, where's the phone? Face down on the table. 5 years ago, where's the phone? Face up on the table. 3 years ago, there are 3 phones on the table, all face up. I'm not joking about the multiple phones. Who's seen that? Who's seen that? Marco, I've seen you work with multiple phones. Yeah, multiple phones and a chargey and a drum kit and all these things, right? To the point of business-wise, these people can't be unconnected, right? And they will sit at that table and the phones are coming up. I have gone into establishments before that would have signs that were for the politeness of other guests, etc. Stay off your phone. And those things are going away. People can't be disconnected. They just can't. They can't. What do you mean I couldn't get a hold of you? How's that possible? There's no way I didn't get a hold of you. So be conscious of that. I would say, much like you guys heard during the comms block yesterday, keeping those things silenced, keeping them on vibrate or off. And if we have to use ours, excuse ourselves. How about reaching? If I need something at the table, can I ask someone to pass it as opposed to reaching, right? Now I want to bring this up. I'm in the middle. You're asking for the bread. And the bread's over by Marco. So you ask for the bread. Marco passes the bread to me to pass to you. But on the way, I think it looks delicious. So I'm going to take a little on the way. Yes or no? No. No, absolutely not. We call it short stopping. We don't. No. Or I take the last of it. That's the best. We already talked about bread, butter, and sauces and mopping it up. What if we don't like something? What if we really don't like something? We make an effort. Make an effort, cut it up, move it around, push it around, try. But if we don't like it, we don't like it. On that note of not liking it, what if we really like it? So in some cultures, if you eat everything, in my house growing up, we called that the clean plate club, right? You don't get dessert if you're not part of the clean plate club. You just clean this plate that we could put right back in the cupboard because it's just been licked clean. If you race through it and you eat it all, in some cultures, an empty plate means I didn't get enough. And so that's equally rude. So now it's all gone and they're thinking, oh, he's still hungry. So we'll keep it coming. And oh, I didn't want more. And then we'll keep it coming and we'll keep it coming and we'll keep it coming. And we talked about cutting up everything like a child and all that. And about when we're done with the meal and how we place our cutlery and all that kind of stuff. Let's answer these couple sample test questions right here. In a traditional place setting, bread plates are on the top left and one's drinks are arranged on the top right. Glasses for champagne or sparkling white wine are called flutes. Flutes. All right, let's go around a circle here real quick. Something you did not know before we started and now you know. And that can also be something you were maybe doing less than ideal. Never wrong, but less than ideal that you might amend.
I didn't know about the clean plate thing. I usually always finish my food.
You clean it up,
Yeah,
right?
so-
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so.
Absolutely. Steph.
I didn't know that they would give you different colored napkins depending on what you're wearing.
Okay. All right. And you might have experienced that and not connected
yeah,
it.
that was weird.
Yeah. So you look, why do I have a black one and he's got a white one? I don't know why. Steph.
The black pepper, usually like they'll come and like actually do it
Yeah.
as opposed to like seeing it there.
Your own little
Yes.
dish of that. Sir.
The little fork.
The little fork. You learned not to pick your teeth at the table. Unless there's a mirror in front of you on the table. Then, sir.
Well, I asked them, so I didn't know that was it, and then the way you place the napkin, you know.
That little triangle, that diamond.
The way it's
Excellent. Sir.
Placement of the napkin.
Placement of napkin. Small fork. Sir.
I didn't know it was called the brandy snifter.
Snifter. All right.
Just the steak, like cutting the steak one at a time.
One at a time.
I like to do it like
Yeah.
at least a couple pieces.
Less efficient, right? Sir.
I didn't know we called it champagne flute.
Flute. Okay.
I didn't realize there was different, glasses for red wine and white wine.
Okay.
Color the napkins.
Color the napkins.